Hi guys, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be talking about a big one. I often hear a lot of people come into our community and start to ask about why there is so much pain when you act. And you might have been experiencing different versions of this, but maybe when you act you feel like so much nerves and so much fear. Like it's not a pleasant experience. Oftentimes I hear actors say like there's so much stress before an audition, like you're really feeling some mental blocks, some sweat, like your instrument is closing, your voice is closing, you're feeling stuff happening in your stomach, like there's so much urgency around like we need this tape now or an audition, or so much pressure sometimes around there's these 8 pages of text and you have to remember them and we need the tape by then and you need to be this character and you need to have this kind of emotion. Like suddenly it feels like an obligation, like there's an authority that is demanding something of you, and it doesn't feel joyful anymore. It doesn't feel fun anymore. It doesn't feel flowing, free. It's not playful anymore. There's no playing. There's like a homework and you have to do this. It's an obligation. It feels like doing your taxes. So yeah, whether it's a memory issue and you're afraid of losing the lines, whether you're not connecting with the character and so there's some kind of bitterness that goes into that, whether you're just so affected by the competition that's getting the same audition as you are, or what's happening on set, and maybe there's a lot of egos going on around you and a lot of pressure. Basically, it just makes your experience miserable. And of course that's shitty because you didn't get into acting to be miserable when you act, but I just want to say that you're not alone. It's pretty much what I'm hearing from most actors who come into our community and who are just like, what the heck is happening? Like I've either been acting since I was little and it used to be fun, but now I'm an adult, I'm a pro actor, I'm acting all the time and I hate it. Like it's horrible, it's not fun, I'm suffering. It's painful when I act. I mean, there are so many actors in our community that are, working actors that have lead roles or recurring roles in shows. There are also a lot of actors that are beginning. And no matter the level, that's a common denominator that I'm feeling is the pain that you might be experiencing most of the time, a lot of the time, all of the time when you're acting. And it's so radically opposite to what you're wanting to experience, right? Like you didn't come into this profession to experience this much pain. Like it's not what you want. It's definitely not what you want. And so I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. And you might have tried so many things. I mean, I hear the actors who, are sharing this with me when they start working with us, which is like, I've tried so many methods and so many techniques and so many mentors and books, and I've traveled internationally to work with this super teacher or that super teacher. And yet I'm still not feeling, like it's a pleasant experience. Why so much suffering? And I can so much relate to that because at the time that I was an actress, more than a million years ago in Paris, that's what I was feeling too. I was feeling the pain and I was doing all the hard work. I was really, really, doing all the classes and studying with all the mentors. And I was learning a lot about acting, but I wasn't remembering how to be free. And I use the word remembering because of course you were born free and you were born instinctive. And all the actors in our community that have been child actors share how fun it was in the beginning when they were little, when they were children, how playful it was, and then how little by little they start feeling constricted and stuck and in a cage in a way is sometimes a word that I'm hearing too. So yeah, whatever the level you're at, you've tried a lot, if not everything, and you're still feeling that pain. It's real. And my heart goes with you because I've been there. What is really happening? Why are you experiencing so much pain? It's not because there's something wrong with you. It's not because you didn't get to the right class. It's not because you need to study more. It has nothing to do with all of those things. There's nothing wrong with you. You're completely perfect. But you have been conditioned You have been raised, in other words, you've been wired, you've been programmed. But basically, the most generic word would be to say you've been raised to behave for others, to behave to please, to do it right, to be a good actor, to do the scene right. You've been raised to be loved by others. You haven't been raised to experience yourself into your being and to do what feels that it's working for your system, what feels like it's satisfactory for you. You haven't been raised to be you. You've been raised to be good for others. You've been raised to behave like others. You've been raised to think like others. You've been raised to feel like others. So you have been raised outside of your instrument, right? And when you're trying to please, you're trying to be good, you're trying to be loved, none of that has to do with your instinct. None of that has to do with your truth. None of that is acting. Acting is the art of being fully alive in imaginary circumstances. And when you're trying to please, to do it right, to do it good, to be loved, you're not in your truth. You're not experiencing, in other words, living these circumstances inside of your nervous system, your instinct, your freedom, your truth. You're not doing that. You're trying to manipulate the outcome. You're trying to manipulate the result. You're trying to look good. That has nothing to do with your truth. Trying to look good is the opposite of your truth. Trying to look good means that you're practicing the art of being fake. You're practicing the art of pretending that you're confident. That has nothing to do with your truth, right? It has nothing to do with being alive. It has nothing to do with art in the first place. Trying to do it right, trying to look good, trying to please, trying to be loved has nothing to do with art. An art piece or a masterpiece has to do with, can I dive deep inside of me to find my truth, my perception of this creation that is so unique to me? And then people can resonate with your art. But if you're trying to please, if you're trying to manipulate how the audience likes you, there's no connection that's happening. You're trying to sell yourself. You're trying to sell, right? And when you're trying to sell, you're not really here present in your body, in the moment, in the character, in the imaginary circumstances. You're not there for the character. You're there for your ego. You're there to book. You're there for your wallet. You're there to be loved. None of that can be satisfactory to you. It's painful because you're not living your truth. You're not living your life. You're not living your art. It's painful. It's disaligned. It's not in your body. It's out of whack. It's energetically completely off. It's radically opposite to what you're looking for, which is to have a meaningful, truthful, free expression and experience of you. It's the opposite. And it's not your fault. It's not because you're a bad person. It's not because you're a bad actor. It's not because you need to learn something new. It's because you've been raised this way. You've been raised to feel a certain type of emotions. That's what your parents told you. They've raised you to behave and to feel a certain way. And if you didn't feel the way that they wanted you to feel, you got punished or the love was pulled back. So your survival was at stake. So you adapted. You drank the Kool-Aid. You became what people wanted you to become. But when you do that in art, it doesn't work. You've been raised that way at school too. Be like others. Why can't you be like them? Be good. Do it the way we tell you, even though you don't want to learn math. Just do it. You've been trained to do things you don't want to do it and to do it the way that people want you to do it. It's completely disconnected you from yourself. That's painful for an artist because that's not why you're here. That's not why you chose acting. You chose acting to live fully, to experience fully, not just you, but other human beings. How can you possibly experience another character and live what they live if you're not even able to be yourself, right? Because you've been disconnected from yourself. You've been requested to be out of your system. You've been requested out of your instinct, out of your freedom, out of your truth, to behave like you were told to behave like others, right? So what do? We don't take more classes and more methods and more techniques to act. It's not acting that is missing here. The missing link is you being your true self, your free self, your deconditioned self. So the work we do in our community is not to teach you acting or even to coach you. I don't want to use that word anymore. It's to facilitate you back home, to decondition yourself, to unraise yourself so you can start remembering who you truly are in your unique self, your unique artistical self. You're a human being. There's no one like you in the entire planet. That's what the audience is interested in. That's what the casting is interested in. They don't want you to do the scene well or right or good. Everyone can do the scene right. Everyone can read it and understand it and read it like it's supposed to be read. That's not what we're looking after. We're not looking after your acting skills. An audience is not moved and touched and impacted by how well you act. They're impacted by your truth, by you and your capacity to be fully alive in the moment, here, now, right here. Because that's such a rare commodity in our world. It's so rare. It's so hot that when a casting director sees it, they grab it right away. They'll rewrite a part for you. They'll give you another race, another color, another accent, another line. If they see you being free and truthful, it's so rare, they will want to work with you. They'll sign you right there. It's happening in our community all of the time. What needs to be done is not for you to learn something new. It's not for you to learn acting. It's for you to unlearn all of that. Unlearn. So you can start being you again. Yes, if it makes sense and you've tried stuff, you know so much about acting, and yet it still feels like it's painful. And trust me, there's no shame in that. I've worked with people really at all levels that have worked for decades professionally, and that are telling me how excruciating it's been, how scary, and who start doing this work of unconditioning yourself, of waking up your instincts so you can finally start really being you. And then really everything changes. It's like coming back to life. It's like really getting oxygen and being rebirthed. So yeah, let us know if this resonates for you. You're not alone. Most actors suffer, and there's so much more that you can experience. Let us know so we can send you some information and start supporting you. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.